Welcome to the Sisterhood of Sweat. I am here today with Natalie Jill. I'm super excited to have Natalie on because she is talking about a subject that is near and dear to my heart at almost 57 years old, aging in reverse. And her book has blown all others to bits, in my opinion, as far as just getting over the misconceptions around aging and what aging should look like and how it should feel. And so I'm super excited to dive into her book today. And we'll also talk about what to do when your metabolism comes to a standstill. Natalie Jill is a fat loss expert turned high performance coach. She helps people across the globe age in reverse and level up their lives, empowering them to create everything from nothing. As a licensed master sports nutritionist, fat loss expert, and functional fitness trainer, Natalie leveraged the power of the internet. And in a short amount of time, she was able to help hundreds of thousands of people worldwide become the best version of themselves. In the process, she created a globally recognized national brand with well over 2.5 million social media followers. And she created an online business that has consistently generated 7 figures a year and has been recognized by Forbes and Greatest for 2 years running as one of the top health and wellness influencers in the world. She is frequently asked about her age, 47, and how she appears to be aging in reverse. Natalie is also the creator and host of the top ranking podcast, Leveling Up and Creating Everything from Nothing. Welcome the one and the only Natalie Jill to the Sisterhood of Sweat.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Linda.
I'm super excited to have you on. And I met Natalie when I was at the World Idea Blogfest convention. And I had heard her just before that. I didn't really know who she was before that until I had heard her on a podcast, on Lewis Howes' podcast. And so the very same week I met her live and in person, and I was just blown away by her genuineness and sincerity and her story. Her story is what really grabs you. So today I just want to talk about the story, first of all, just so people can kind of get a glimpse of who you really are.
Sure. Where do you want me to start?
I kind of want you to start back when you first got into fitness, because a lot of people on the podcast are going to really relate to the place you were in back then.
Yeah. So when I started, it was years ago, and it was actually by accident that I started. And I say that because this was about 12 years ago. I just had my daughter, and this is back 2007, 2008, if you remember what was happening there. We were in an economic downturn in this country, and it was really devastating for a lot of people. A lot of people were losing their jobs. A lot of people couldn't afford their houses anymore. There was just financial craziness going on everywhere. So a lot of people were in this downward spiral. That was happening to me also. But what people didn't know about me then was that I looked like I had this perfect life. I was pregnant. I was married. I was living in this cute neighborhood with the white picket fence, the dogs, all the things. And I was in this place in my life where I had checked everything off the list, like went to college, got married, had a baby, had the good job. And what people didn't know is I was really in a downward place in my life because I felt super fake. Like I felt like I had done the checklist, but I wasn't happy. And it felt very lonely because I felt like I had to look like I had it all together, like everything was working and it was going well. But what people didn't know was this secret that I didn't have it all together, that my marriage was ending, that I was scared about being a single mom, that I knew I was going to have to take a demotion at work because I was going to be a single mom and couldn't travel full time. And even though I had done the smart thing with my house and put the 20% down and it always paid my mortgage on time, the housing market had crashed. And I was in a spot where I couldn't pull equity to cover the bills, and my debt started creeping up. And I got into this really crazy, bad place. And it brought me to a place that this word means a lot more to me now than it did then, but it brought me into a place of forcing myself to surrender because I literally was at my rock bottom and didn't have another place to turn. And it was in those moments of when I finally surrendered and I don't know what to do, that it sort of came to me to just start focusing on get the one thing I could control. And that was getting myself healthy and paying attention to that. And so that's what I started doing. That was the beginning of everything with fitness and nutrition.
So when everything felt like it looked perfect on the outside, but it was falling apart on the inside, how did you turn that all around?
Well, it didn't start with an idea of like, I'm going to turn it all around. It started with a decision that I didn't want to be there anymore. I didn't want to be feeling overwhelmed and at a loss and like the world was working against me. And that's how I felt. And anyone that's listening to this that may be in that spot right now where you're like, why is me? What's going on? Why do things keep happening to me? I believe it's the universe's way of showing you that it's time to surrender, that we can't control everything. And it was in those moments that I decided that I didn't want to live like that. I didn't want to have to be controlling everything. And I didn't want to feel this way. And I created a vision for myself, like what, not the how, not like what I was going to do and how, but how I wanted to feel, how I wanted to be, what I wanted my life to look like. And I made a vision board and I put on there like fit girls and just healthiness, happy families, ocean. I just put whatever made me feel good. And I remember staring at that board every day and saying, okay, if I am not living like this right now, if this is not my reality, if I can stare at this board and evoke feelings towards that, things have to start changing. So that's what I did. I used to look at my board and say, well, what would the person living in that board be eating, doing? Who would they be around? I used to ask myself that question. And at the time, I had very few people on my Facebook. I had maybe my high school friends. And I went on Facebook and I shared and I said, hey, I'm in this place right now. I'm going to start sharing what I'm eating and what I'm doing. And I'm going to do it for accountability. And if you're interested, follow along. But I'm doing it for my own accountability. And that's how I started everything.
I love that. I love that. And you grew it into such a big brand. Why do you think people identified with it so much?
At the time, because it was real and it was relatable. And that's a theme that will keep coming up for me and for others, that like when you really walk through things with people, you'll find there's support. There's a lot of support and connection. There's a lot of following and connection. There's a lot of teaching and opportunity and connection. So, sometimes when we're depressed or down, we want to withdraw. We don't want to connect with people, but it's in that connection that everything changes. So to me, I was sharing, I wasn't asking for anything in return. I was just sharing, like, this is what I'm eating. This is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'm going through. And I shared it and people really resonated. Like, thank you for bringing this up. I'm struggling with this too. I'm going through that. So I shared recipes and, especially women, we were really drawn to it. They wanted to know, what are you eating? How are you making this? Can you make a recipe book? I didn't know the first thing about the internet or how to make a recipe book or a sales page. I didn't know any of that. I still don't really, but I remember taking my BlackBerry phone and the pictures I had taken and I made a Word document and I turned it into a PDF and I put it on Facebook and I sold it for $10. And that's literally how my business started.
I love stories like this. It's like from your vulnerability and just being real with people, that's how you truly connect. Not this perfect image that we think we have to put across to everyone that isn't even the real us.
Yeah. And, it's not like a fairy tale ending. I don't believe anything's ever really a fairy tale ending. I think if you don't learn things, give back and live the way we're meant to live, I think that lessons will keep happening. We will keep having interruptions that will force us into surrender until we, kind of get that message. So my business, like you read a nice bio, but my business didn't go like that. It wasn't like, here I was and there I am now. It wasn't like that at all. My business has been like this. Like sometimes it's really down. And it's in those failures that new opportunity always comes. So my business has not been this consistent growth over the last decade at all. It's been a big series of ups and downs and learning. But what's always worked and what's always continued to work and is when I'm truly sharing from an authentic space of what I'm going through and learning. I'm sharing and giving back and I'm teaching and I'm being real. That's what works. I'm offering a solution. So I don't care like what the best marketing ideas or what the newest trend is or what I should be doing. I'm really just sharing what I'm walking through and what I'm learning. And I want to empower others to be able to do the same.
Yeah, I love your whole journey of how you started you had lost everything, and then you created everything, just like your podcast says, everything from nothing. But sometimes, like you said, lessons have a way of repeating themselves until we kind of get them. And recently I heard your story kind of behind the whole reason why you wrote the book Aging Reverse, and I'd love for you to share that with the audience.
Yeah, it really, the way what it started for is really what changed into what it has evolved into. So what it started for with is that, you know, I was going through a spot again of having massive interruptions in my life. You know, about 2 years ago, things started to not work in my business. And what I mean, it's not that my products weren't working or that clients weren't getting results. They were. In fact, I was selling more. I had a lot of revenue coming in, but I was not making a profit. I was working in the red. And for any business owners watching, you know what that means. You've probably operated in that spot at some times. I always would say, I'm not a numbers person. I just want to stay and focus in my creative zone. Okay, I encourage everyone to become a numbers person because that doesn't work in life. I was not a numbers person. I was focused on my vision and what I wanted to help with. And I would sell things and have programs and help people. And I thought I'd see revenue coming in. That's all I cared about. I was like, it's working, but it wasn't working. I was spending way more on people, on teams, on consultant, guru, BS, whatever, like on the wrong mentors. I spent money on like the wrong everything. Like I thought I needed this copywriter, just stupid stuff, really dumb stuff. And I'm glad it happened because I learned. But I really went into the red, and wow, that hit me really, really hard. When I really had to look at the numbers and make a lot of changes, it like, is that my creativity? So that was the first kind of beat up, like, what the heck is going on? And why isn't this working? And, you know, my answer was just to keep hiring more people or trying the more, you know, the new consultant or the new whatever. And it wasn't working. And then a lot of things started not working for me. Like my husband and I started having problems. And, you know, he's my second husband. We've been together for 8 years, married for 3. And you know, 2 years ago, we were having a lot of problems. We were fighting. We weren't getting along. And then I ruptured a disc in my back. So like my very brand, which was built on abs and core and functional training, like what? Like I'm feeling like the ultimate fake. Like I get injured, I rupture a disc, like not just like a little injury, like the whole disc between L5, S1 ruptures out of my body and makes it so I can't use my right leg. Like I have foot drop. I'm at risk for losing use of my bowels. I'm feeling like a complete failure. Like, could anything else go wrong in my life was really what I was thinking. And it was in those moments, I had a moment of surrendering, but it was fighting my need to control. And most of you women know what I mean by this. The need to control was, I'm getting older. I need to fix it all. Like I got to say, I have more to-do lists. I got to stay on top of the business. I got to make sure my daughter's okay. I got to fix my back. I got to make sure my marriage is okay. Like control, control, control. And in the meantime, I'm getting wrinkles and my skin's changing and my back's hurting. And I'm like, like control, control, control. So I had these little glimpses of, okay, I can't control it all. I can't control it all. But in the glimpse of trying to control it all, I did make some changes that did help, but I've come a long way. And why I say Aging in Reverse has sort of changed. Initially, I wrote it as a way to control everything. Like, let's make it so we have nothing change on our bodies. And now it's really a nice blend. There's a blend of surrendering and understanding and changing our mindsets and embracing, and the part with diet and nutrition that gets to change as we get older to help support that.
Well, I know like with the injury you had, it was very serious.
Yes.
Can you explain to everybody how like serious?
Like, really? Yeah. In fact, my trigger right now is when somebody like messages me, oh, you should try this like stretch device or this person. I'm like, dude, if your doctor tells you you are going to lose use of your bowels and bladder, you would do exactly what I did. So like, what happened was when that happened, I was rushed into surgery a couple of days later, and I had what's called a laser endoscopic spinal surgery, where they removed the rupture that had wrapped around my spinal cord. If I had not done that, I would not be able to use my right leg today, and I would be wearing a bag to go to the bathroom. So that was not an option for me. I love that some people have embraced the natural around that, and that's amazing for them. That was not an option for me. What I did choose, though, was to not at that time do a disc replacement or a fusion, which was what was really recommended, and I didn't do that. So I right now have bone on bone. So there's literally no disc there. So like as I'm talking to you, I'm sitting, I maybe sit 2 hours a day max, and I have a heating pad on my back so it doesn't lock up. And the rest of the day I'm standing at my stand-up desk or I'm moving around. And I get to be really cautious with anti-inflammatory. So meaning I don't eat foods that have any chance of causing inflammation. In fact, I eat foods that are anti-inflammation. And what I learned through that is, wow, what a difference eating like that makes. In fact, it's helped so many women, and I feature that way of eating in my book, really battle joint pain, combat minor back pain, all kinds of things. And it's changed my skin. It's changed so much. So I'm a huge fan of eating that way, regardless of what I do surgically on my back or not. I will never go back to not eating that way.
Well, I know a lot of the time when we've injured ourselves, it would be easy to make excuses on why we should stop or
totally
why we can never be the same. How did you flip your mindset to
totally
where you're at now?
Yeah. So I have a slogan. It's excuses or solutions, you decide. So I get to be the example of that, of course. So yes, I could enroll the whole world in why I'm not going to work out anymore and I'm not doing fitness. I could be like, you guys, I have an injury in my back, not going to happen, switching careers. I'm not even going to put a workout. And I don't think anyone would challenge me, but that's the problem. Like, they should challenge me because yes, maybe I can't do some things that I did before, but I can certainly still move my body and do things. Now, I deal with pain right now, not at the level it was if I did not eat the way that I do and do the things that I do for therapy and self-care. I would be in a lot more pain. So, but I'm committed to all of that. Now, I may, and in fact, I'm heavily considering a fusion, which I might do. And please don't anybody listen to this send me a message about why you wouldn't, like, I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to respond because I've done my plenty of research. You cannot regrow. I've done stem cell, I've done PRP, I've done all the things. You can't regrow a disc that's gone. So, I may decide to do that. And if I do, I'll of course share that I'm doing that. As of right now, that's not my decision. I'm doing all the things. I do the right movements. I use heat a lot. I'm taking the supplements. I eat. My diet is dialed in. I can tell right away if I go off of how I'm eating that I get a flare up with that. So very aware of that, and I'm just committed to that. I'm committed to finding a way.
I love that because I think a lot of the time we get tied to what we used to be or what we used to be able to do. And I had my hamstring reattached this year. So it was a pretty life-altering injury, and I had to just focus on what I could do.
Yeah.
And that's a lot more than you think. And eventually you'll be able to do more. How can we get people to, stop telling themselves either they're too old, it's too late?
Yeah. So you can't make somebody, but we can stop validating. So like, I'm not even going to respond to somebody that says I'm too old or too, I'm like, because you're not too old or too late. That's a belief. It's a story. It's what I call false assumed truth. So I share that I slay fat for a living. And fat is false assumed truths. And that's all the things that we've been believing. So it's not true. Like you saying, I can validate your excuse, but I am not helping you become a better person. So instead, I'm committed to what's possible for you. So you'll hear me, I speak into that. So I'm going to help people find solutions and give them workarounds if they're open to it. But what I won't do is validate that you have this diagnosis, this thing, and now you can't, because I don't want people validating that for me, to be honest with you. Like when I complain to my husband about something hurting, I don't want him to be like, oh, you're right, that sucks. Like, because that doesn't help me. It doesn't help me. And we tend to, especially us women, we tend to commiserate and validate, and it's not supportive. It doesn't help people become better.
Right. I think a lot of times that's what happens when we hit menopause, which I had last year. And people want to commiserate and validate, oh, this is what happens to you, when you age. And I guess I just have to accept it. Well, no, I think you got to figure a new way around it. Like every age, you can't do the same thing you did before. I do think you have to make some changes.
Yeah. So like, here's the nail, Linda, you can find evidence to validate anything. Like I could easily find evidence to support that menopause makes it difficult for things. But let me tell you what, I can also share evidence with you that it doesn't. There's plenty of people that it doesn't affect them that way. Now, what's the difference with those people? Is it like some genetic miracle? No, I'll tell you what it is. It is an absolute decision and choice and belief set, and then the thoughts and actions that follow that. Let me explain. If you believe that you are going to be too old, miserable, in pain, everything's falling apart, how hard are you really going to work on your diet and nutrition to combat it?
You're not going to work hard if you don't
No,
believe
because
it's going
you
to be
have an out.
achievable.
Yes. Now, but if you believed that every single person that is your age and older looks better with age, is thriving, is running, is feeling amazing, then how hard are you going to really look to create thoughts and actions that support that?
I'm going to work super hard because I know that
Right.
I can do it.
Yeah. So that's the difference here. I had a woman in my Full Body Reset. Full Body Reset's my program that it's like my Aging in Reverse on steroids, basically. It's like a full 6-week detailed intense program. I had a woman on my Full Body Reset, and she attended one of the Zoom calls, and she said, day one, my doctor said, because I had a hysterectomy, this is her talking, I'm going to gain 30 pounds, and I gained 30 pounds. She said, is it possible for me to lose the weight? And I said, what your doctor said was a false assumed truth. Do you think there's other women that had a hysterectomy that did not gain 30 pounds? She said, I don't know. And I said, well, I can show you many. I said, it's a false assumed truth. Are you willing to take this on and believe that the opposite is true? And she said, I'm ready. She surrendered to that. She did the mindset work that I teach in Full Body Reset. She worked through that. She made the changes that I suggest in diet and workouts because she's embracing it now because her mindset's changed, and she lost not just the 30 pounds, but more. And she didn't lose, she released, like it's not coming back. And she's a new woman. She's thriving. She's like, and now she notices the false assumed truth anywhere. So anything that you believe, my reaction to you is going to be, if you say so, if you say so.
I love that. And I think you've got to find things that confirm what you want to be true versus confirming, like if I want to lose weight and I want to be healthy in menopause, if I go find examples of people that are already doing it, I'm a lot more likely to be engaged in pursuing that. And when I had my hamstring injury, I looked to people that had been through some major horrific accident that, could barely use their leg and how they came through it, because I needed that to be able to come through it and at least be who I think I am. I mean, as far as, just feeling vibrant and alive and capable and not limited.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I love that. I love that, looking for the evidence that supports what it is you truly want. I think that's huge.
Because you can always find that. But it's a choice to look for that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, how can I know you talk in the book about self-imposed stops, and in my gym, I see this a lot where people are getting in their own way because of the stories. I literally have on my wall, change your story. So how can we stop stopping ourselves?
Yeah. So self-imposed stops are what happens when you buy into false assumed truths. So when you believe that something's to be true, you're taking that on, it now becomes your glass ceiling. It becomes your limitation of what's possible. So if your doctor says you are diagnosed with this is what's going to happen, you now believe that. So you've now set this thermostat as this is what's going to happen. So now you're going to make different choices based on that and take different actions. So that's what happens. So the first step on how do you combat it is you recognize that they're even happening. Because until I point it out, you're not even maybe realizing that it's happening. So look at what it is that you want, like your vision, what it is that you want. And when I say what do you want, don't just say I want to be happy, because that's the cop out. Like, what do you actually want? Like, what do you want to feel? What do you want to be? How do you want to be spending your time? What do you want to look like? What do you want and why do you want it? And then take the time to list out, like write it out. What are all the things that you're believing that's keeping you from that vision? So like, as I talk to you right now, I'm looking at a view on my vision board of a view from a house that's like, would probably cost $20 million. I have had a limiting belief around, which is now a self-imposed stop, that I will never have that kind of money to buy that house, right? Because like, why would I? I don't have any evidence. I don't have any friends that have that. So I have this false assumed truth that this is just an example, like it's too late for me. So every time I look at that house, the old me would think, I'll never have that. So why would I even try to take actions to make that happen? Because I believed that. But now I've done this work and I'm very aware that that's my own self-imposed limit. That's my own self-imposed stop. So being really aware of that and asking myself those deep questions, like, why do I think I wouldn't have that? and getting creative on like what would need to happen and and maybe doing that work, like thinking through the why and the what would need to happen. I may come up with another reason that I actually don't want it. But what's most likely happening is it's a self-imposed stop. It's a belief that we've formed and we get to rewrite that story.
Why is it so important for people to understand their why? Why do they need to get in touch with it and really dial it in?
Yeah. Well, you don't need to. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to listen to anything I'm saying. But why I would say it's important is it's your secret weapon. So the number one questions I get, like the 5 like top questions I get. How do I get to stay motivated? How do I, stop self-sabotaging? How do I not cheat? Like I get the same like theme of the question. And the reason that they're having that come up against them is that they never figured out why they actually wanted something. So like, for instance, if you come to me and you say, I want to be skinny and I want to look younger. Great. Why? I don't know, because I want to. That's not a why. So then what happens is when you're sitting on the couch in sweats and you're comfortable, you don't care. So the chips sound good. Or you're out with your friends and you have a glass of wine, you don't care. So now like, I'll have the ice cream. There's no willpower falls away because you're comfortable. It doesn't matter. So, but if you know your driving core motivator, your true deep level why you want something, that's your secret weapon. An example is, and I take women through this all the time, like, and Linda, can I do it to you? Can you be my guinea pig on this?
Okay.
Okay. I'll take you down it. Okay. What do you want?
What do I want?
What's a goal that you want? What's something you want for you?
Okay. Well, I'm actually stepping into it right now. When I was 29 years old, I basically did the whole thing. I left the ex-husband. He was abusive. I completely started getting into fitness. And I remember at that point visioning that I someday wanted to have a studio and a place where I could empower women and help them with their self-confidence and have the tools to do that. I had nothing. I had nothing at that time. I had no money, no resources. I had never even worked full time in my life.
Got it.
So now I'm stepping into the vision. I'm in my studio. I'm empowering women. I've written a couple books and I'm podcasting.
Okay. So give me an example from that or something that like you want, right? Like right now, what's a goal that you have?
Okay,
like
so that was just my backstory. So my vision, the goal that I have now to really take this vision full force is I want to travel the world and help women with their self-confidence and self-esteem through building health. So I really want the gym and the podcast and all of this just to come together. I want to start speaking and really.
Okay. So that's what you're going to want to do. But tell me why. Why do you want to do it? Why? If I just
okay, here's the why. I never, ever want any woman out there to be in the situation that I found myself in because I didn't really understand my worth, my value. I want to empower women to have confidence so they never find themselves in that type of situation.
Okay. So are you open to this? I'm going to do this with you here. So that's awesome. Why do you want that? Keep going with me. Why do you want that for them?
Oh man, this is tough.
This isn't easy.
Yeah. Why do I want that? Because I wish somebody had been there for me at the point when I really needed it. So I wouldn't have stayed in that mess so long.
And why did you stay in that mess so long?
I think I didn't know that there was, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't realize that I could do it on my own, that I didn't have to live that way, and that I had the tools to be living the life I'm living right now.
Okay. Why didn't you realize that?
I think because I didn't have the confidence I needed, and I didn't realize what it was that I deserved. And I had some limited beliefs, I think, as far as, what their role is and what marriage is. And,
and why do you think you had those limiting beliefs?
Because I was raised in a religious household and my mother was very subservient and she didn't go after any of the things that she wanted. You know, if my father said, I don't want you to wear shorts, she didn't wear shorts. If my father didn't want her to go get a job, she didn't go get a job. And I just think it was just the belief system. And she had manic depression, and, you know, and I look back at that and I think, you know, was it a chemical imbalance, or was she depressed because she couldn't do the things that were in her heart that she wanted to do?
Okay. So do you see kind of where I'm going with this? So like, I'm getting to the root, and we only went like 4 levels deep. So to get to someone's true driving core motivator, you dig down like 10 levels deep. So what I want women to know is the first answer of just, I want to lose weight, or I want to start a business, or I want to, you know, whatever it is, that's not your why. That's your first initial surface thing. But there's a lot of stuff we got to break through, like self-imposed stops and beliefs and stories. And when you get to the root of it, and we could even go deeper with Linda here.
Yeah.
Like
I already started feeling what the deeper was.
Yeah. And you know, you've hit the deepest when you get emotional. So that deepest level, that is your why. And when you stay attached to that and you get that driving core motivator, nothing will get in your way. Nothing gets in your way.
I love that. And I really, actually, when you really started dialing it down, my eyes started stinging. I was getting emotional for sure.
Yeah. But see,
So
people give the
powerful.
first level. The people come to me and they say, I want to lose weight, but we don't know their why. And until I get that, willpower is going to keep coming up.
I love that. I love how you say everything starts with a decision, because I truly believe that. It's what I witness in my studio, that everything starts with your mindset and with just making the choice first.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And as far as like, you know, weight loss, that isn't really, you say we should love our weight.
No, not necessarily. I mean, yeah. Okay. No, I say love your weight because you have to find gratitude in where you are. You have to find gratitude. So it could be surface level. I love my calves. I love that I have a body. It could be something just like pure gratitude. I love that I have 10 fingers, 10 toes. Like, but we have to start with love somehow, and what we are going to be doing for our body if we want to make change. So it's not that you have to love your overweightness. Like, that's not what I'm asking, but you do have to love something about your being in order to operate from place. If you attack your weight loss or your anti-aging goals with a place of hate, like, I hate my body, I hate this, you're going to keep attracting more hate and more things you don't like. So we get to start with something that we love in order to get to a place of loving our weight.
Yeah, and I love that, because what I really wanted to bring out is a lot of times women are, you know, they're saying, I hate my thighs, I hate my butt, I hate my nose, I hate this. And I really think it's when you stop focusing on the negatives and start focusing on the positives about yourself that you see true changes.
Yes. And you know what's really crazy? So for years I sold programs like $37. I still have a lot of those. I have like 19 ebooks, and that's great. And I have books in stores. I have Aging in Reverse is my newest one. I've got Unprocess Your Diet in stores. All that stuff is great. And I think people need deeper stuff. So like I've really shifted to like where I concentrate on are like the communities that I build, or coaching, or my small group women's retreats, or my 6-week programs, because to me, without that community and connection and going deep, you're getting temporary change. Like, I can give you my 7-day jumpstart is my best selling ebook. Like, I have one in stores and I have an ebook. People want the 7-day quick fix all the time, and it works for 7 days. Yeah. But if you don't change your mindset and take on the harder work and the harder connection and really getting to the root of things, then you go back to living how you always lived.
That's so powerful. And really, I've experienced it in my own life, and I see it every day with women that I'm working with in my studio, that it's all about changing, like you said, the beliefs that you have about yourself and your mindset. You know, a lot of times you just have to shift. How can people make the shift? Like, if they're telling themselves one thing, how can they start telling themselves a new story?
I wish, Linda, I could give you like a simple, like, this is just what you do. This is the formula, but it is a process, and you need an interruption. So the interruption can be something in life happening to you. Like I had like 5 interruptions before I got to this point right now. In the last 2 years, it could be an interruption, like a tragedy, an injury, something dramatic that gets you there. Or you can go and invite in an interruption that's a little bit more healthy. Like you can find a coach, you can join a program, you can get the right mentor. They're everywhere. You just find someone that resonates with you and learn with somebody that can interrupt you and guide you, because trying to solve the same problem with the thoughts and actions that got you there is not going to solve the problem. So like a lot of women listening right now, like they're listening to all the podcasts, they're reading all the books, they're downloading all the programs, and nothing's changing because they need an interruption. So either wait for an interruption to hit you in the head, like it's just going to happen to you, or seek out and get a coach that is resonating with you and find a good mentor and invest in yourself with that. Like when I say get a mentor, that doesn't mean like send me a message and say, do you want to have coffee? Like that's not what I mean. Like a mentor is like investing in yourself. So you're committed to coaching with somebody or being in their program, or, somebody that's the right match for you that's going to call you out on your stuff and call you forth and be an interruption.
How can we begin aging in reverse? What are your top tips?
So the top tip, the book is like a really good general outline. So Aging in Reverse, you can get in stores anywhere. It's all across the country or Amazon, wherever. And I do give you just kind of like the nutshell tips. But the number one thing is make a decision, like decide, draw a line in the sand today and say like, I'm done. I'm done with this belief that I'm too old and it's too late. Like make a decision that you're not going to hear that anymore, and start noticing like every time that's coming up and like, you're not going to hear it. Start looking for evidence of the opposite. Look at your social media. Who are you following? Are you following 19-year-old girls and comparing yourself? Like that's a problem. Find people that are in your reach, that are uplifting. Like when you scroll social media, you should feel empowered and uplifted, not like hate, jealous, or bad about yourself. That's not what you want. So look for people that are resonating with you, that are helping to uplift you, but make that decision. Find those people so you're surrounding yourself with that. That's the first step.
And as far as like, I noticed you're still in amazing shape. Nothing like you had a serious back injury, serious surgery. What were your biggest tips around keeping yourself in shape like this?
So it's a decision. So I do not train like I used to. It's so funny. I always get a giggle when someone sends me a message like, do you really just do these short body weight workouts? Yeah, because that's all I can do right now. So that is really what I do. There's no like hiding around that. But I definitely changed how I'm eating. I mean, I'm very regimented with my food. I'm not in a controlling weird way. I mean, I'm human. I eat when I want something, but I'm very aware of what foods are creating issues on my body and which ones are actually helping to fuel it. So I'm aware of that. I do moves that are really effective. So like, I do very short workouts, very short. They're primarily body weight, and but they're not easy. So what I mean by that is like anyone that thinks a short body weight workout's not effective, I'm going to challenge you right now to go hold a plank for 5 minutes. Like you come back and tell me how your plank for 5 minutes went. Or go try to work on chin-ups or pull-ups for 5 minutes and tell me how you did. Because you can really challenge yourself with body weight workouts that are intense. So I choose wisely and know that like more than 20 minutes, my back's going to probably start hurting. But I can, in those 20 minutes, do really amazing, effective things.
Yeah, and I know sometimes people just think if they do more and more cardio, that's going to be the ticket. But I really am of the thinking, it's more about building the muscle so that you're burning more calories all of the time versus just beating yourself up like on the treadmill.
I'm not a cardio fan. So I'm a fan of like, if you enjoy cardio, like if you love to walk or hike or bike, amazing. But if you're on the elliptical or Stairmaster reading and chatting on the phone for an hour, you are wasting your time, period. End of story. You're making yourself hungrier and you're making yourself skinny fat, period. Doesn't do anything for you.
I personally think it makes you flabbier when you're doing like a ton of cardio and not doing any kind of resistance and strength training.
And I was addicted to it for years. For years, I was like, I have to do cardio on an empty stomach every hour, every morning for an hour. Like that was my thing. It did nothing. All it did is make me hungrier. So I shifted that. Now, if you enjoy it, go for it. I'm just letting you know it's not changing your body.
Yeah, now, and I can attest to that because I've been a cardio queen, and I think in my older, age, I'm approaching 57, I really started recognizing that it's tearing your body down if you're doing too much cardio, and that the real secret is, to, like you said, to love your body. So loving my body would be doing some strength training, eating healthy, drinking my water, not a beating my body up to get it to submit to whatever image it is I think I've got to live up to out there.
Yes. Yes. Now, and I'm not talking, by the way, for someone that's like, but I run triathlons or marathons or I do aggressive spinning. That's not what I'm talking about. Those are different. That's intense. That's a whole other level. But if you're just on the elliptical leaning and like on the Stairmaster, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. What are some tips on eating for everybody out there? Like, you know, are you no dairy, or are you gluten-free?
So my number one rule is to unprocess your diet. So it's not everything, but the 95%, call it, of what you eat should be unprocessed natural food. Foods that once grew, ingredients you could pronounce. So really that leaves a lot of foods in their natural state. That means any fruit, any vegetable, proteins, lean meats, nuts, seeds, you know, even whole grains to some extent with an unprocessed diet. That's step one. Step two, for my Unprocess Your Diet book, that's what I teach in there, is that general, like that unprocessing of your diet. I believe in natural food eating. And when you eat natural food, that is gluten-free. I'm a celiac, by the way. So I've been gluten-free before people even knew what gluten was, like before it became trendy, it was a thing. I'm not a fan of telling people go eat gluten-free. However, there's a caveat to that. The reason I'm not a fan of saying go eat gluten-free is gluten-free junk food is worse for you than gluten-containing junk food a lot of times. There's way more sugar in a lot of that. So saying go eat gluten-free donuts, bagels, that's not making you healthier. That's gimmicky and marketing. However, if you eat an unprocessed natural food diet, that is naturally gluten-free. I don't think you're eating raw wheat. So if you think natural, real, unprocessed food, there is no gluten in that. So I'm number one, a fan of that. And then for aging, and for if you're listening and you are in your 40s, 50s and beyond, and you do want your skin to start glowing, your gut to be healthier, your joints to stop hurting, then I highly suggest being on an anti-inflammatory diet, which means we're adding in a lot of the foods that combat inflammation, but we're also taking out things like dairy and grains. And I can't say I'm 100% dairy and grain free, but I'm pretty darn close to it. Like I make a conscious choice now. Like last night I had cauliflower pizza. So I had the dairy and I had total flare up today. So I knew right. And I'm okay with that. Like if you know what's creating it, that's where I want you. I want you in a place that you know how food's affecting you. So it's not that I never, ever, ever, but that's what I choose. Now, all the time, someone's going to send me some study or something about dairy's fine or blah, blah, blah. I don't really care. like awesome. If it works for you, keep doing it. It does not work for me. It doesn't work for many of my clients. And I have lots of evidence to show you why it doesn't. But like for me, I'm not here to make anyone eat a certain way. If they think it works amazing for them to have dairy and grains every meal, awesome. If it's working for you, keep going. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for most women that I've worked with.
What's your biggest success story that you have had from the book? Like somebody that
I can't even narrow it down, but I'm going to show you this one that is just like, she's my friend and I just like, am so in awe. I just had the page open for you. I'm going to show you her picture. Let's see if I can find her picture really quick. Come on. I want to show you a picture of Nicole. In fact, I might have let's see if I have a colored picture right here. I'm going to show you a picture of Nicole if I can find it. She was a complete, if you looked at her, you would think she's a beautiful girl, but that she genetically just had big bones. That's what people would describe her as. And she believed everything under the sun, that she just was not meant to be fit. And so when I met Nicole, this is what she looked like. Okay. Beautiful girl. But she was overweight, no denying it. But she believed that was her genetics. That's her bones. That's her destiny. Worked with her. She had done every diet under the sun. She did everything. She came into me. She started with 7-Day Jumpstart. She did my full body reset. She then came to my VIP weekend, did all the work, changed her mindset, changed her state, which is what I teach first, planned her plate, learned how to eat differently. And now she started with stage 1, unprocessing your diet. She never even had to take out all the dairy and grains. And then we worked on the workout part last. And this is her today.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Same girl.
I love it. She just looks so vibrant and wow, and healthy too.
Yeah,
and
here's another one.
Yeah.
Here's another one. This is Terry when I met her. Terry was super depressed when I met her. She was living on diet soda. She wasn't focused. She was injured. She was hurting. She was just gaining weight slowly over time. She was turning 50 when I met her. She had this full belief that she was too old and it's too late. She had a million people validating that for her. started working with me. She did not start with 7-Day Jumpstart. She started with Full Body Reset, and she worked with me there. She came to one of my VIP weekends. This is Terry today.
My eyes are stinging again.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the change. I love it. I love the inside out change.
Countless stories. And I wouldn't, if somebody's really serious and they want to like take this on and they're not ready to like come to one of my VIP weekends or coach with me, if they're not at that stage, I would highly recommend doing the Full Body Reset, because the Full Body Reset is 6 weeks of everything. And I walk you through every single step with activities, videos, worksheets to follow. And I do a full money back guarantee if people go through the whole program and do all the assignments, if they don't get results. So that's a great place for people to start that want to take it on. I wouldn't even waste your time, honestly, with the 7-day plan. Like, jump in and do Full Body Reset and commit to it.
I love that. And I know I can totally attest to Natalie Jill's workouts, because when I took your workout at BlogFest, I was like, oh, like you did all kinds of exercises that I've been in fitness a long time. I'd never done them. And my abs, arms, everything just burning. I was
awesome.
like,
I love that.
Workout in a short amount of time. So I just think that you've got the ticket with this Full Body Reset.
Yeah, you don't even have to do the workouts. I have workouts on Full Body Reset, but that's not even like, you don't have to do them. You could do the mindset stuff and the nutrition and still get the change.
I love that. And nutrition, I think, really is 80% at least of your results, besides the mindset.
Yeah.
Wow, I love this. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and just sharing yourself. And I just want to acknowledge you so much that every time I have ever heard you, you always have something of value to input, and you just engage. I feel you're very engaging. Like, I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and usually in the first 15 minutes, I know if I want to listen more. And every single time I have heard you talk, listen to anything you had to say, you just really draw me in. So
thank you so much. That's such a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. And so I just want to thank you for being on, and just if you could leave 3 simple tips with the audience today. It could be funny, it could be serious.
Gosh, make a decision, figure out what it is you want and why, and take action. Like, take action, like do something. Don't just freeze and think about it, wait, save it, show somebody else. Like, take an actual action.
I love it. I love it. And where can everybody get in touch with you?
Gosh, you can just literally Google my name and you'll find my stuff, but you can go, my social media is Natalie Jill Fit. My podcast is Leveling Up, Creating Everything from Nothing. My website's nataliejill.com. You can find Aging in Reverse, or any of my books, DVDs, all of that, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the places.
And again, you guys, make sure to get the book and the podcast. Listen to her podcast.
Thank you.
It's so important to leave a review. Leave a review on her podcast. Leave one on mine, just to let her know how much you truly appreciated everything she brought today, guys.
Thank you. By the way, if somebody does, anyone that leaves a review on Aging in Reverse or my podcast, if you screenshot and send it to me through either direct messages on Instagram or through my website or support, we send you a free journal, my free daily doings to simple steps, radical results journal. It has a meal plan in there and everything.
So you're gonna get something to take away that is gonna give you an idea of what she offers if you didn't get it already today from our podcast. Thanks again, Natalie, and thanks everybody for listening to the Sisterhood of Sweat.
Thanks for having me.